Hey guys, welcome to the weekly commentary. Had a pretty rough trading week again. Sorry, I don't have any good news. Had a lot of split money management trades actually. Like they'd hit their risk-free scenario and then the trade would turn around and stop the thing out, which basically means I lost nothing. But yeah, none of those really kicked off, and you can see really on the Euro US dollar chart in front of me right now, things have been pretty stagnated here too. Only a few markets are moving, so just trying to stay cool. But I did have that the US dollar CAD trade stop out that I put as the chart of the day there, which was a bit of a bummer going into the weekend. Didn't really want to see that, but yeah, it happens. I also just recorded half the commentary and realized I didn't press the record button, so I've got to repeat it. So I'm going to probably breeze through these charts quickly, and I'm recording this 2 a.m. here in Sydney, so we've still got a few hours before the market shuts, but I don't really see anything exciting or big happening before the market closes, so it's probably going to be quiet trading till the week's close. So Euro US dollar, really nothing going on. You can see the mean value's gone all spaghetti mode, and we don't really want to trade in this. We really need to see some organized structure, so ideally we want to see the test of the top and the bottom there. Okay, so this is a market none of you have probably gotten involved in. You probably would have obviously seen this as really nasty looking right now. Pound is, just check the weekly, just adjusted my weekly level there to kind of match things up a bit. It's in a nice uptrend at the moment, and even on the daily chart we can see that we have been seeing a nice uptrend, but we haven't had any buy signals yet. So a buy signal off a higher low would be really nice, but we'll just have to see what that forms. If the pound Aussie, if the pound New Zealand dollar can actually break through that resistance, then there's a lot of upside potential here. We could watch this for a breakout. Maybe even if we get a pullback here and a buy signal off a higher low, as long as the market still looks strong, we could, I say not to do this, but we could try to trade through and see if the weekly level breaks and the market goes into high highs. Things will have a bit of breathing room. If the signal was like right underneath it, pressing on the weekly level, I would not suggest to trade through that. But if we have a bit of buffer room here, then we could give it a shot, because there is a lot of reward waiting for us if the market does, or potentially that is a lot of upside potential if the market breaks that level. The US dollar Swiss franc is at a nice location here for a buy signal. We've got the uptrending structure here. We've got the mean value. Look to the left, previous resistance. We break through. If we get a really juicy buy signal there, that very convincing one, that's a nice little bullish hotspot for a swing trade there. So that would be something we could look out for. The US dollar yen has broken through. Let's see if it can hold underneath that support. So if we look, that was a weekly level that was broken. So if it remains underneath here, we actually have a lot of downside potential. Here is the next weekly support level. So we'll be looking for a retest, and definitely we want to look for a sell signal here on a lower high. Any sell signal kind of on a lower high underneath this level would be a very high interest, because if it does follow through, the downside is huge. We could potentially get a really big trade out of that. US dollar CAD. So yeah, I put this as the chart of the day. Kind of feel a little I feel a little guilty because it looked like a good signal. I might have hyped it up a bit too much, but unfortunately it didn't work out. So if the market's going to go bearish, then we'll probably get the classic pattern here. You guessed it, the head and shoulders. If it drops a lower high under there, if this market's going to turn around. So if we do get that sell signal here, because this is a weekly level, if we get the sell signal under that level, that could be a decent bearish trade. So you want to see some sort of move like that, okay, with the sell signal under there. So yeah, unfortunately that didn't work out. I was pretty bummed about that, and like I said, I felt guilty. Sorry, most of you guys probably took that as well. But these things happen in Forex, it's frustrating times, especially with some of these markets being so crappy. The US dollar Singapore dollar is still grinding up. I drew the consolidation structure marker there, so if it does break out, the battle station will let us know. The Aussie, so the Aussie, if we zoom right in and we just kind of take this area into consideration, if we look to the left, we can see that the previous support, okay, we broke through, we retested it, okay, we've got this huge rejection candle there, looks like a great signal. But then I had a look at the market structure, and I thought it wasn't such a great idea to short there because we've got more of a channeling structure here. You can see the previous corrections have been quite deep, so getting pretty, yeah, like a channel boundary there. The corrections are very strong, so we'd really want to see a much more deeper correction if we're going to sort of trade in line with the market structure. So it just didn't really seem like a good play. So that's why I didn't mention it or worry about trading this, just because of that whole structure thing there. It's basically feeling like we're trading around lower lows there and selling into that. So I was waiting for a deeper correction off this top trend line here, something like that. A nice sell signal there would make sense. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, I believe I put this as the chart of the day on would have been Wednesday. But yeah, a nice rejection candle there. We've got this ranging structure happening. So you can see the range support here has generated some pretty strong moves. And, you know, we're seeing some follow through here. Unfortunately, it didn't trigger the retracement entry. So you can see how nice that signal looks when we zoom in a bit there. So yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get that retracement entry, just more frustration from this week. So that's a train that's left the station without me. Maybe some of you guys got on this, but yeah, I didn't manage to catch it. This market's not looking too good right now. Pretty horrible when we look to the left. Very high congestion. Really need to see a breakout. That's the Aussie, New Zealand. The Euro Pound, actually, I must have overlooked this morning. This actually looks like a good signal. We've had a nice straight line move here, so we've got a little bit of extension of the mean. Wouldn't really call this a mean reversion, more like a range play, but we can see that the bears have made their move, so they're probably in, I guess you could say, an exhausted state. So at least a bounce off this level seems pretty reasonable, and if the range goes through another cycle, you know, we can target up here. That looks pretty decent too. You know, you can see we've had strong bullish signals off here in the past as well, and they've generated good follow through. I don't think that, like, the retracement sort of order hasn't been filled here. The opportunity wasn't there for a retracement entry. But there still may be something that we can trade next week if just depending on how this closes, and we might actually get that retracement. So I think this is still going to be valid going into next week, and I actually am interested in, I think I'll be watching this on Monday and trading this one because it just looks too good. So hopefully that one will actually trigger and mature into a decent profit. I'll probably target the range top on that as well. The Euro Aussie, it's just in an uptrending structure right now, so we don't really want to be selling up here. There's no reason to, although we're getting some rejection candles and that there. We don't really want to be selling there into this uptrending structure without a very good reason. There's no overextension from the mean or major level. Ideally, we'd probably want to be looking for buy signals to go along with the uptrend here. You can see the previous correction was about like that, so you know, anywhere around here seems like a good location for a buy signal to form next week. Euro, New Zealand dollar, that one's squeezing up there, and nothing really to do on that one. Gold has taken off. Actually, when I looked at this before, there was actually a decent buy signal there, if anyone caught that. Unfortunately, the battle station would have filtered that out if you had the trend filter turned on. I think the trend filter is the one that knocked this out. But if you were watching this and caught that, well done. You would have been really happy with that. What I really liked about it is we got this first signal here. A bit of a rejection candle. Probably wouldn't have taken too much interest in that. And remember, this is weekly support. It followed through a little bit. We come back and then we dropped a bigger rejection candle there, and that actually worked out quite nicely. So that one, that was a nice little hidden trade there if anyone caught that. Like I said, you'd be pretty damn happy if you did. Heading up to the range top here, so I guess we could look for sell signals here if a decent sell signal forms to sort of like match the ranging structure here, so that'll be interesting. We might even get some gapping in the mean as well to sort of build value into that idea too. Silver, you probably wouldn't have touched that and probably wouldn't have been looking at that. I haven't been. It's been a pretty horrible market. Pound Aussie, getting a bit overextended from the mean here, so who knows if the market keeps going up or down. If it keeps going up, we could get a mean reversion kind of signal. Let's see where the next weekly resistance is. Got too many levels hanging around here. You can see something through there. Yes, so probably around somewhere around there. I really would. Yeah, so no weekly turning point coming up in the immediate area. It would have, if it does continue to accelerate up there in a straight line, then you'll definitely be looking for mean reversions up there. But probably all we'll be looking for is buy signals on, after corrections on higher lows there. That's a HL. The pound, New Zealand dollar cross. It's trying to break out, but it looks like we've had a pretty strong straight move there. So we don't really want to buy up here because it's on high highs. We'd want a decent correction and a buy signal. But yeah, we'll see. If a buy signal does form, we'll have to evaluate it then. I just look to the left. Market structure doesn't look too good. This could just be an overshoot, so got to be careful of that. Pound CAD, nice uptrend. We get that retreat back into a nice area to be watching for a nice swing level through there. So we'll be watching for a buy signal there. Let's check the weekly for any. Ooh. Oh, the weekly chart doesn't look too good for a. That actually looks. Yeah, like I think. I don't know if I've said it in this video or the previous recording that I tried. I'm going to probably tweak the mean value settings on the weekly chart, probably because I think this is too slow, and I think the mean. It looks like it's going to be a mean reversion on the weekly chart, but it's just I think the settings are too slow and it's giving you the illusion that we're overextended too much. But interesting. But we've already had a pretty strong up move there. You can already see that. So that's, yeah. We'll see. How long can this trend live, right? But that is a nice area for a swing trade there. So we'll see what happens. If it does come back and drop a big buy signal there, we'll kind of evaluate it. But yeah, the trend might be running out of steam. Who knows? The weekly chart looks a bit scary in the way. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking. We'll see what happens. I'm not stressed about it now. The signal hasn't formed, but the daily chart looks really good for a swing trade, a trend trade within a swing trade within the trend. We can see this one took off really nicely too. That one was going to be hard to catch as well. Didn't really retrace too much. Let's have a look. EuroCAD, really struggling to get through that level there. We can see the market sold off there. So this kind of destabilizes the trend because we weren't able to make a higher high, and we can see like these big selling features coming in. And the weekly chart, yeah, see the weekly chart actually looks really bearish. Oh, I remember this chart. Yeah. The idea was to 2 weeks ago we were looking at that. I know it would have been last week. The big bearish rejection candle on the weekly chart coming off that major turning point too. Yeah, this looks really bearish right now. So yeah, I'll have to leave a note. So we'll leave a note looking for bearish signals to follow through from major weekly level. How's that? So I'll leave that there as a reminder. So yeah, any kind of sell signals on a lower high here, probably be pretty interested in that, because just of that weekly chart, and major level, big bearish moves coming out of that. And if we start to see a sell signal on a lower high, I think that would be more weakness developing in the evidence of that. We could short that and try and catch a big move, because the weekly chart does actually suggest there's probably going to be a big move here. Yeah, so that'll be an interesting chart going into next week. Aussie CAD, that's getting slaughtered. So yeah, see, I remember talking about this last week too, that big week there. It looked like the market was getting very weak around that level. You see it was a pretty decent weekly level too, so very strong follow through with that. No sell signal, unfortunately, just basically a straight drop. Euros was frank. I'm going to delete that. Weird, horrible consolidation there. I don't think anyone's interested in this chart right now. Surprisingly, seeing good follow through from this signal, but didn't touch it because it was really encapsulated by those horrible conditions there. So probably not even sure if that's going to reach a full 1 to 3 target. Would it have? Oh yeah, just would have made it with a proper 50% entry. But even looking to the left now, it's kind of pretty rough, isn't it? I don't really want to adjust that level. Yeah, leave that there. So we'll see if it can break into lower low. Break into lower lows here. Except it's having trouble today. I just really don't like the structure of this market right now. I think it needs to break out. And I left my note here from last week looking for a bearish flag break. We didn't get it. I was looking around here, but it didn't actually break properly, and we can see that there's some continuation. I really wouldn't call this a flag now. Flags are usually fairly short. As this starts to build on, it's probably going to be a full-on trend line, classic trend line. Getting a buy signal, or a bullish reversal signal, not a buy signal, off there now. So trying to just see if we can build value into it. Yeah. I don't know about this one. It's kind of weak at the moment too. At its current state, I would say absolutely not, because it's just too small. And if we look to the left, it's just, yeah. I wouldn't call this a bullish trend. It still looks like a correction. And even on the weekly chart, it kind of looks like a correction. So I wouldn't be. I just can't really see too many reasons to buy that. So I'm going to delete that comment. Aussie yen. Looking for a sell signal if the market can still remain weak under that level. Let's just check the weekly. Weekly's got a previous week was a beast of a bearish week. Look at all these levels, my God. Yeah. It really needs to hold under that level. It does look pretty, look at the bearish move we've had. I think this could go either way, actually. I'm not too convinced we're going to actually see it hold under that level. I think this is just going to be an overshoot, to be brutally honest with you. It's just the evidence right now is suggesting the market does want to actually break it back above there, because we're starting to see we broke out a little bit. We're starting to see the rejection come in. We're already pretty already had a straight line kind of down move there, so I think that this is just going to be an overshoot. That's just my opinion. But if we're going to sell into this, we'd probably really want a convincing sell signal under that level if it's actually going to hold. Let's just check that weekly one more time. Yeah, see if even on the weekly it looks a little overextended. So very doubtful. I'm not convinced it's going to hold. So we'll see. You can see the New Zealand dollar. A little bit of a similar situation. You can see that the bullish price action coming back in here as well. That's probably on a weekly level too. Yeah, that might end up being a decent trade idea there, because of the weekly level presence there. That's actually a pretty good turning point. I believe, yeah, that I tried to take that trade as well. Yeah, that one didn't work out for me this week either, unfortunately. So. Yeah, shoot, yeah, there was that signal, and then there was another one, and now another one. I'll probably leave this alone, just a superstitious thing. I just don't want to get too involved in this market right now after it already hurt me. Maybe I think what I'll do is I'll wait for the market to actually break up a little bit and see if we can start to see buy signals coming off higher lows here. Look, I'm not going to trade this because if anything, I'm going to trade that euro pound. I'd prefer to trade that. We'll see if I can get a trade on that. So don't want to overanalyze this one, but I think the market's trying to bounce off that level, that weekly level. You look, CAD yen. Actually, this one I took a break of the doji high. Okay, because this is a strong weekly level, and I put my stop. Below, I did the tight breakout where you put your stop below the low, and I used the split money management system, but it actually come down and just knocked me out, and it looks like it's going to continue on. So yeah, frustrating. So yeah, I think this one's going to push up as well. Let's get that weekly level. So we've got that weekly level there. I think this one's actually going to push up as well. So yeah, all these yen pairs looking like they want to go up on yen weakness. Sitting on lower lows here, need a correction, the sell signal if we're going to trade in line with the trend here. Again, selling on lower lows here on the weekly chart looks a bit overextended. We'll wait for a signal first and we'll see what happens. That doesn't look too good. Out of position there to be looking for any signals. Really want to see some signals at the boundaries. Way overextended to the upside. Really need a correction before we look to sell. Look to buy, but we could potentially be looking to sell. Let's go to that weekly. Let's drag this up here. Nice weekly level there. So we've got strong resistance. We just don't have a strong sell signal just yet. We could see some follow through off this bearish candle, but it's not really something we'd recognize. Ooh, there's a rejection candle there. Could have been a little early warning signal. If the market does start printing lower highs here, we could see a nice drop. Yeah. I think this market's very primed for a mean reversion. We've got the weekly level, we've got the overextension. You can see we've just had that epic straight line move, and now we're starting to see the bearish activity. So I think the mean reversion is, yeah, it's all primed up, ready to go, and it could basically ignite in any second. But we don't have any kind of like real nice candlestick signal to structure in with the daily chart. So I think if you were to trade this, you'd have to be clever on the 4-hour chart, or any chart between the 4-hour and the daily. So like if you're looking at 8-hour charts and stuff like that. But yeah, I think this one's probably going to drop. Might even put a note. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to say prime for bearish mean reversion. I want to get fancy there. There might be something on the 4-hour signal that will print. That'll give you like a nice little framework to build into this. Not seeing anything yet though. Probably next week. Oil's taking off. Let's see if it can break through these highs. Not really ideal because I don't really want to pay a lot for fuel. But yeah, this one looks like it's heading into resistance. A little bit of overextension from the mean there. We might get a sell signal here. This could be something to watch. Let's go to weekly. Yeah, yeah, that's all the history I've got. Yeah, there could be a turning point there. So this is the UK oil market. I'm going to leave a note here too. So I'm going to say watch for bearish mean reversion. Got to get back into the habit of leaving these notes so I know what's going on. The S&P, pretty aggressive selling there. Actually come out of this sell signal here, but I don't think I would have taken that because the structure just looks all whacked to the left. Maybe it looks like, I was going to say, do we have some sort of channeling going on there? Maybe. Kind of. Looks like it, doesn't it? But it's all screwed up though. The swing highs and lows are all over the place. And it's kind of getting some expanding kind of price action there as well. Like that, yeah. So yeah, I haven't been worried about the S&P because it's been there's no structure to work with. It just looks really dangerous to get involved here. It just looks like it can whip up and down at any moment. But hey, the Dow here actually looks a little better actually. I found myself last year trading the Dow much more. Just thinking. Yeah, we can see that we had some support here. Obviously this was a fairly volatile area here, but market started to build support around here, but now we've broken through there. Got some evidence here that it's starting to get organized. We got into lower lows, so we see that retracement come back up here, and we actually get a sell signal off a lower high. That could be something next week. Nothing there. US dollar, yeah, it's really stagnated, so that's probably, this is the index, so that's probably why a lot of the other majors were fairly stagnated. Let's have a look at Bitcoin is struggling. Poor Bitcoin. So maybe got some squeeze pattern happening there. Yeah, poor crypto markets in general. They're getting slaughtered. Ethereum looking quite bearish. Liquidity looks fairly, like just going off the candlesticks, it looks fairly low too. Technically a nice sell signal there, it would be good. We'll see if that happens, but you can see it's tough to trade right now. The candles are very thin. You get some decent moves every now and again, but it's looking around, you know, and that gapping and stuff like that. There's a lot of thin candles around. And I think that's the end. Yeah. Just some other kind of exotic pairs at the end here. Palladium. I added that in because Go Markets have added it in. And see, it hasn't done anything this week. So that's it, the end of the commentary. I hope that was helpful. A couple of things to watch out for going into next week. Hopefully I can catch a decent trade going, with some of that stuff going into next week. This week you can see it's been pretty frustrating. That New Zealand dollar yen didn't work out, the US dollar CAD didn't work out, and the CAD, that yen breakout I took just stopped me out before it took off again. So frustrating. Alright, so got to keep a positive attitude going into next week. I see you guys in the chat room like talking about stuff you've taken, and that seems like you're doing pretty good. So yeah, the discussion in the chat room is, or the sentiment, I think, from what I'm picking up, is the currency meter discussions. I'm going to look into making one, so I'll see what I can come up with and make a currency strength. And I was thinking about a currency strength meter for you guys. to use, and a currency correlation heat map as well, to see if we can make some use out of that in one neat little tool. So just investigating that idea at the moment, and yeah. Alright, so I'll leave you there. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys for trading on Monday.